Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. I am back here at Aragorn's Pavilion after checking things out as Osgiliath quickly, and I'm going to finish things over here before we head on to Osgiliath, where they're going to be sending us into North Ithilien. So, what do you need, Aomer? There are many ways to sneak into the city unnoticed. After we set forth for the Black Gate, too few eyes will be keeping watch, and even fewer swords and bows will be defending it. Please patrol the outer walls of Minas Tirith and vouchsafe no remaining enemies loiter there. Alright, I suppose I can do that.
Even now, enemies still roam the Pelennor.
Maybe I should put up no loitering signs up there, but I don't think orcs will respect that. Especially if they only read black speech and don't know what the word loitering means, whatever the word for it in Westron is. Even now, enemies still roam the Pelennor. If it is to be safe again for the Gondorian farmers who tend the land, we must defeat these remaining foes. I want the Pelennor safe before we march eastward. Well, I think that is a reasonable request to make. Anything else we need here? Scrolls of empowerment for a host of the West. Forget it. No, that's not the quest I'm looking for. Ah, here we are. Angbor. When we last spoke near Peligir, I expected to arrive before the battle began, or at least in the middle of it. But alas, the enemy struck swiftly while I encountered setbacks and obstacles. And perhaps I'll tell you more of my journeys sometime. Right now, we must see that the men who will march to the Black Gate are as well outfitted and provisioned for the journey. Currently, our weapons and armor supplies run low, but ore from the mountain should help us to forge more blades and helmets. Will you collect some ore for us? Alright, fine. I'll collect some ore for you. Yes, there are several people who arrived after the battle due to the swiftness of it, and that allowed them to have a reasonable garrison over at the left behind for this to defend the city, while of course sending a force over towards the Black Gate. Now, what do we have here? I think I'm supposed to be patrolling the walls, so we could. Oh yes, one of the things they're asking to do is. Well, let's remove that for the moment. Let's have a look at what we've got along the walls. Then I think the mountain we'll encounter when we get to the end of the patrol area. I need to head to the north section of the outer wall of Minas Tirith. North section of... Oh, I need to go north first. This is why you read the quest guide over here, so that you don't go all the way down to the south end and suddenly decide, oh, I needed to go north first. So let's make this the focus so that I don't miss my spot. And make sure that there are no enemies loitering around, and I may run into an enemy or two as I do this. But I don't see any yet. Hey, maybe that means there aren't any enemies loitering around here. Maybe they've all fled. Maybe they've all gone into Mordor and got beaten up by Sauron for failing in there, and he has no army left, and that they go to the Black Gate, there's no one there. Well, let's see. But if they're all inside of the Dark Land, that's not good because that'll make it tougher for Frodo. Never mind. Never mind. Actually, speaking of enemies, I saw some red dots over here. And we may as well Give them a little bit something to think about or to die about. Right, because we need to take care of a few of them while we're at this. And I'll probably have to get a little bit more food at some point because too much battle makes me peckish, right? Now, what do we have up here? Well, I don't see anything along the wall yet, so most likely the... Well, I suppose we could call those two orcs I saw over there to have been loitering, even though it's not the primary target for that particular quest. So let's head on our way. Oh yes, speed up, speed up, speed up. That's what we got warden speed for, so that I don't have to trudge there slowly, right? Patrolled this section of the wall. Alright, now let's make sure there isn't any ore up here. Because I think it's mostly on the south end, but I don't want to go all the way to the south end, do a little mining there, and find out that only half of it is in that section. But it appears to me that no ore here, so I guess that means it's time to head south and continue patrolling along the outer city wall. So far, I haven't found anything along this route, but of course, that could always change. Of course, we've all had... I patrolled that section of the wall. Nothing there, but apparently a couple more orcs came to this position. Hello. You wondered what happened to your buddies? Oh, they weren't your buddies? Well, then I guess you'll be happy that they're dead, though not happy that you'll be joining them. Now, let's continue on with the patrol. We are approaching the main city gate, which I would hope would be one of the better checked areas. See, we got plenty of people here. I think that any orc that tries to come this way is going to have a great deal of trouble. So I am suspecting that they're more likely to look for a weakness along other parts of the wall. Though the wall, of course, is supposed to be pretty much impenetrable. That's why the only real breach is at the gate, because that's the weakest point. Of course, there's always the possibility of ladders. The ladder is probably one of the most important inventions from the point of view of siegecraft, because the enemy just likes to use them in order to get up the walls. And what have we have? Not exactly sure what that's supposed to be. I mean, were they expecting to use... Maybe they were trying to have the enemy trying to go up them or something like that, even though siege engines were more likely to be used for housing areas for rams, but... Well, let's continue on, and we are starting to see the mountain up there, and that mountain is going to have our ore, I'm hoping. Oh, hold on, I found... Oh-ho! Look at that! Encroaching enemies! Well, we could take care of that very quickly. Well, I did not expect those two to die simultaneously. It's not like I don't think I used any AoEs during that one, so which is the usual way of getting simultaneous kills there. Now, I've taken care of all of that. I guess I have to return to Aomer, so let's then look for the ores that we need for the other bit of the battle. Or for that, and then on the return trip, I can see about finding a couple of enemies there. I know that one looks like it has a face on it. Oh boy. I'm sure someone is going to say, look at the ore monsters! Or maybe the orcs were seeing the ore nodes, deciding that they didn't have time to mine the whole thing. So what they did instead is they vandalized it by putting these... I'm not sure what kind of face that looks like. It just looks like a face to me. I don't know if that's typical with ore nodes and I just never noticed it before, or... Well... or if these special nodes are the other ones that are like that. Well, who knows? That is 5. I would hope that there are some more around here. Whoops. Why, are you saying that I missed some? Most likely. Oh. Oh, because I was trying to head out into that direction. Yes. So, I don't think I'll ever be able to unsee that face now. I wonder if it's just easier to see that illusion with this silvery ore and that other types of ore you can't. Or as I said before, it's always the possibility that it's just a special texture for this specific one. Well, that is it for that. So I'm just going to grab a couple of more enemies, and when that's done, I'll meet you back at the encampment. I've made it back to the pavilion. Now let's get this metal into the forge. The forge glows brightly with the newly added metals. Well, that's nice. Now, let us speak to Angbor. Excellent work! This should give us at least a dozen more blades, if not more. Ooh, hit a rep point. What did I do? I am now known to the host of the West. Oh, this is just the beginning! Oh. I tell you, my friend, the Haradrim are a devious foe. Do you know they were planning to assail from the south? By good fortune, my men and I intercepted them on our own northward march. I'll not bother to go into the details, but needless to say, my men and I stood our ground. Ah! Well then, if you prevented reinforcements from arriving from the field, then you at least did some good for the battle then. Ah, so it seems that the smiths have some new armor for me. Would you be kind, Warden, and deliver it? Alright, so I need to give some armor to the various members here. Alright, some armor. Here you go. Now. Oh, thank you. The armor doesn't seem to have changed, but I guess he hasn't actually donned the new armor yet. Alright, here we go. Let's see. What's the armor like? I suppose that the damage to the armor could be hidden by the hauberk. That's always a possibility. There, you're welcome for the armor, but I'll just go around delivering a few more of these. I've finished delivering the armor, and they're most appreciative. The gleam of new forged armor should breathe courage and pride into any soldier's heart. May fear take hold of no man. Alright. I tell you, the Haradrim were dauntless. My men and I held against wave after wave of them until I saw that we must gain some advantage or be worn down to defeat. I led a charge and drove them back to the river, where my archers rained down arrows upon their rafts, and they came across. It was thus that we rebuffed them, though not without great effort. The men here in the Pelennor are wearied, but still they must train. Will you go down to the sparring area and put their new armor to the test? They could surely gain from a combat tip or two from such a seasoned campaigner as yourself, even if she is about half their size. Yeah. Before the sparring, I should report on my survey of the walls. Good. I'm glad that very few foes still dare to come close to the city walls. And on top of that, I also killed a few foes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Each passing day, the Pelennor fades from the hands of the enemy and returns to the kingdom of Gondor. There we go. Ooh. That got me some rep, it sounds like. Oh, completed Quests of Pelennor. Really? New deeds. Quests of Greater North Ithilien. Ooh. I thought I had many more quests than that, but alright. Sounds like then it's time for me to find that sparring area. Ah, here's the first recruit. Hello?
When the time comes to fight, we'll be ready.
Right. This armor fits well. Let us see how it holds in combat. Well, I'll make sure I don't put too many holes into it. Alright. In some friendly combat. Oh, friendly combat? Well, we'll see. Hey, what do? Use a blunt spear instead? Ah, the armor is quite sturdy. Well, that's good. Of course, how it holds against a sharper spear is an entirely different matter. Here's another one.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?
I am sure
Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
I'm sure this armor is impenetrable. Well, I'm not going to try to disprove that. Time to test it with some friendly combat. Yeah. Because if I go around penetrating the armor, that could be create some problems like injury and the like. Ah, quite sturdy. Alright, good. And what do you say about your armor?
We can only hope that the Rohirrim will arrive before it's too late.
I'll spar when you're ready. Alright. Yeah, they seem to all be saying, let's see how this holds up. They don't have a new line yet, I guess. It fits well, thank you. Alright. And what about you?
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
Are you certain that this armor will protect me from a Morgul blade? Well, time to test it. Well, hard for me to answer that one. I don't know the full properties of a Morgul blade. Though I suspect usually they use a Morgul blade against someone who is... who's in a helpless position. In other words, they could use conventional weapons to get them into the helpless position and then use a Morgul blade for that. Because a Morgul blade might not be optimized for piercing armor, but it might be optimized for doing other nasty things. So, yeah, it's possible the armor could be perfect to use against a Morgul blade.
Will you aid the Horse Lords?
Let us spar and see how this armor holds up in combat. Because we really don't know the full properties of Morgul blades. Or how common they are, and all that stuff. Let's go back to Angbor and report how they're doing. I've done a little sparring. How did the armor hold up? Good. Good. I hope that their spirits stay high in the days to come. Well, we all hope that. We all hope that. It appears that Angbor has more for us to do. What still needs to be done? We'll have to find that out in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.